Welcome everyone to this webinar today, our virtual Q&A webinar. My name is Mel Parker and I'm the campaign manager here at Birchal. And today we have one of our founders that is going to present to you today, Nancy Donaldson from Art Lovers Australia. But before we get to her presentation, I just want to acknowledge the traditional owners of the land that we are zooming to you from today and pay respect to their elders past, present and emerging. Nancy is the founder of Art Lovers Australia, and I'm really excited about this founder and about this capital raise that Nancy and her business partner Jared are doing at Birchal. And without further ado, I will let her kick off. Thanks, Nancy.
Thanks, Mel. Thanks everyone for joining us. I've prepared a brief overview to help answer some background about Art Lovers, and then we'll have some question and answers which will probably flesh out more of the story as we go. So you'll see in the picture, that's myself and Jared, the co-founders of Art Lovers Australia, and that's in our Melbourne gallery, which is a huge space. If you haven't dropped in, drop in soon. So let's start with inspiration. As artists ourselves, we were fully aware that really talented artists were just not getting the opportunities for the exposure that they deserved. And we saw artist friends have an exhibition for 2 weeks, and then everything that was not sold went home to storage. And we just felt that was the wrong thing, because once it's in storage, no one's seeing it, no one is buying it. And by creating an online platform, an online gallery, we were able to showcase that work beyond the 2 weeks of a physical exhibition. So those works could actually keep visible and make more sales for that artist. And the other side was the collectors. The buyers were also having difficulty because there's so many artworks out there. How do you find the right piece? It's time consuming going from gallery to gallery or online gallery to other online galleries. So we wanted to have a high quality curated gallery that you could just come to. Your search can help you find those works within your budget. And, you know, it's really simple and it's private. You can be doing that at home. So the collectors got a chance to have a seamless experience as well. And our solution basically is that we have the business side taken care of by us and the artists are making it work. Let me just move that out of your screen. Hopefully you can see my screen better there. And thank you to Amika for that beautiful photo. And our growth journey. So many people on this call have already been with us for some of our growth journey, and they've seen how we've started. And you know, the first 40 artists we pretty much knew personally before we grew further. And we've got over 1,000 artists now. We've had, you know, over 8 million in art sales, and we're just growing. And yeah, hopefully you can join us for the next level of our growth. I've just put together a few things that set us apart. If you don't know us yet, we offer a curated selection. So we actually vet every person who applies and make sure that they have the quality, and it's something that we have already seen engagement with for our collectors, so that when our collectors come, they have a better seamless experience. Although we are going to improve that to the next level with our next round of funding. Friendly service is key to our practice. So Jared has come from a retail background, and that's always been key to him. And obviously both coming from the art industry, we've noticed that sometimes people don't feel comfortable in an art gallery. So our team counters that. They have the most friendly experience for you. Just come on in, have a chat, you'll learn about the artists, and any guidance you want, they can offer as well. And marketing power. So as a platform that represents 1,000 artists, we have a lot more ability to do things like the TV shows, like The Block, selling houses, working with Grand Designs, magazines, and the power of running a Google ad or some Instagram and Facebook ads as a large entity is much easier than an individual artist trying to do all that themselves. And the investment opportunity. So running through these, AI recommendations is central to what we'd like to achieve with this crowdfunding. So we want to use artificial intelligence to enhance the website and personalize the user experience. So we're not by any means doing AI art. That's not what we're doing. We protect the intellectual property of our artists very seriously. And what we're trying to do is create a very private AI system within our online platform that will help do the searches at a higher level, so that like designers particularly, if they're looking for a particular color, we'll be able to search through, not we, the AI will help search through and offer them more specific examples of artworks. So we all know there's so many shades of blue, but if there's a particular blue, we'll be able to search for that for them, and lots of other searches. So we really want to personalize that experience. Marketing expansion, I mean, it speaks for itself. The more you can put into your marketing, those increased efforts bring more eyes on the work and then more sales as well. And website upgrades. Being an online platform, there's constant improvements that we're making, but we're at the stage where we really want to overhaul our onboarding for new artists so that it's much easier for them, and also to help those people that just aren't as technologically comfortable, so it's much easier for them, and also speed. And then the other part of the user experience is the artist, but also the collector. So making sure we have extra capabilities that enhance their experience. And we've been working with some of our designers about what they would like. So we'd like to implement some of their ideas in our next iteration. And community building, that's central to what we do. From the beginning, we've been part of our circle of friends community, and it's just echoed out. And that core philosophy of being part of a community and sharing experiences and helping our community is what we've been building on. And now, naturally, it is the time to offer equity to our community first, so that they can be part of, you know, the rewards in our next level of growth. And I've already spoken about this really, yeah. Why equity crowdfunding? Because community is the heart of what we do, and want our community to be able to buy in at this level to benefit for the next levels. Well, thank you all for listening to that. If you have some questions, please pop them in and Mel will bring those by. I might just close this down from sharing so you don't have to see that and you can just see us.
Thanks, Nancy. Right.
You're welcome.
If anybody's got any questions, please pop them in the question box at the bottom of the screen, and we will answer any questions that you might have for Nancy during this webinar. But we'll just have a little conversation. I've got some questions, Nancy. Do you have an exit timeline? Is there something that you're looking at doing further down the track? I think investors might be interested in if that's something that you're considering.
We are always looking at what will be the future, and we have an exit plan in place that, you know, but those things need to be sought and, you know, at the right price and things like that. So probably in like 3 years, we will either be looking at more funding, or potentially at that time, whether we get an investor who's going to help us fund the next level, or at that level is when, I'm just making up a scenario, is that when an international decides to acquire us. And so that would be the exit plan at that stage, which is also why I think this smaller fundraising round that we're doing now is why we want our community in, so that when we also exit, that's when they also benefit.
Yes, of course.
Yeah.
So Nancy, can you talk about your international competition? Who's doing this well overseas? Are there big players in the market?
Yes, Saatchi would be like the first one I think of. So Saatchi Art. Obviously Saatchi Gallery had the name, and so it kind of was an easy build for them. I'm not saying easy. I should take that out. Who knows what easy is? But the name was very recognizable, even though it's not actually linked to the gallery, but Saatchi Art online. Art Finder, and there's a few other players that I think of as well. But I mean, I would probably look at Saatchi as the biggest comparison. Singular Art, those are probably the top 3.
I've got a question here from one of the investors on the webinar. Are you able to speak to the cash burn rate?
Okay, so I think that those things will be in our offer document.
Yes.
So like
Okay.
last year we did make a profit, so obviously no cash burn then, but there is some cash burn this year. So anyone in the industry will know this year has definitely slowed down, and things will pick up again. But last year was a small profit, so no cash burn then. This year there has been, small, well, depends on what you call small, but there's been losses, so there is cash burn. But I'm happy to speak to anyone directly once we have the documents out, because then I'm speaking to you with the documents in front of you for how it's like where the spend was and how that happened.
Yes, so that's right. So all that financial information will be in the offer document for any of the investors on this
Yeah.
call. The offer document will be available when the campaign goes live, and all that information will be in there. All the financial information on Art Lovers Australia will be in that offer document.
Yeah.
How does the physical gallery fit into the picture?
Okay. Well, it's kind
Does
of
the
a
equity also include that part of the business? And if so, what does the future of the gallery look like? And does it contribute to the growth and profitability of the business?
okay. Keep me on track with answering all of that. But okay, first of all, how does the gallery fit in? The gallery is like really key to developing those deeper relationships. So our high-end spenders, they want to come in and see us, talk to us, trust us, see the work in the flesh, which we can only offer if we have a physical gallery. And it's a key part of the ecosystem, because people will call us beforehand sometimes and say, do you have this piece by so and so? And if they happen to be a Melbourne artist, we'll actually say, do you want to bring it in and show the client? And like 90% of the times that'll make the sale for them. Not everyone can just bring it in. So the exhibition rotation keeps everything fresh, gives everyone a chance to be showcased. And then it kind of feeds in from there. So there's a physical gallery. Our socials are better because we're doing videos and showing people's work. And, if the socials are organically doing well, they often will end up embedded into our ads from there as well. So the gallery is a lot more exciting than having just an online platform. But as I said, key for our higher end clients, if you're spending over 10 grand on a piece, you kind of need to see that piece. It's not always, but it's better to see that piece. What was the second part of the question, Mel? Sorry.
That's all right. If so, what does the future of the gallery look like? Does it
If
contribute to the growth and profitability of the business? I think that it does.
Yeah, I think it does. Like
Mm.
if you just break down the sales of what's physically walking out of the gallery, and the online is much more significant, but it's an important part to deepen those relationships. And like the team's already working with all the aspects of the online, so it's not extra wages, it's really just the rent of the place. And yeah, just like opportunities like the block, we got footage of the gallery, each year. So if we didn't have a gallery, what would they like? The first few years we didn't. So, the opportunities when you have a physical space are expanded. And also designers. So they'll say, hey, let's bring our client in, and they'll look at what's on the wall, but they'll sit down with us and look through our gallery with our guidance as well. So the face-to-face is still important. And I still feel that the more we go towards a digital world, the value of the face to face is actually going to be enhanced, because it'll be more rare, more special. And I just feel like, the same with original art. So the bespoke, the original, all of that is going to be enhanced the more online there is anyway.
Right.
Yeah.
I think I agree with you there, Nancy. There is a question here about minimum investments. Again, that will all be in the offer document that will be available when this campaign launches. The timeline you are hoping to implement these changes, I think that's probably all those upgrades. What's the timeline you're looking at?
Like some things will be able to get done in 3 months, but other things are going to need to be. It'll also depend on the spend. We've had initial conversations with many people, but until we know what range of capital we raise, that will affect. And even in the offer document, there'll be a two-tiered off. Like if we get this much money, we can do these things, and if we get this much, we can do these. without offering our competitors too much advantage of knowing exactly what we're doing, but you'll know that it'll get spent this much in marketing, this much on AI, things like that. Mel, can you just read it to me again? Because I probably can give more detail.
The timeline you're hoping to implement the changes and upgrade over. And it also
Yeah.
asks for what is expected return on the investors. And I just want to point out here that this is a crowdsource funding capital raise in which these are ordinary shares that you'll be investing in. However, they're illiquid. So there'll be 3 events where you can actually gain from your investment, and that would be if Nancy sold the business, if Nancy listed the business on the ASX, if Nancy bought back your shares.
And dividends.
And so yeah, there is information about all of that on the Birchal site, but that's a little bit more background on what CSF shares and how they perform.
Yeah, I think crowdfunding is a great way. Like, we love the idea, and if it was available, at the beginning, we probably would have, got our gallery happening from crowd sharing. People might not realize it's quite common overseas, crowdfunding platforms, but in Australia, it's only just, it's pretty early stages of being approved.
It's very early stages. It's only been legislated in Australia since 2018, so we're still fresh and it's quite new here in Australia. So can you speak to the COGs and the CAC? I'm not even sure what that means. Do you know what that means, Nancy? And if the expansion
Cost, what is it? CSG?
COG and CAC, and if the expansion,
cost of goods and
cost of goods and CAC will improve the economy of scale.
I'm not really clear on the question. It probably needs a bit more conversation with that person. But the cost of goods, like, we're not buying all those artworks. Like, we are agents for the artists, so the cost of goods don't cost us anything as such. We get a commission on the sale. So there's zero, like, we're not buying 60,000 artworks. We're providing visibility for 60,000 artworks. So that does make us less vulnerable to having a lot of money out. It actually makes it really streamlined. And if we don't make sales, then we haven't lost money in a product that's sitting and gaining dust and never sells. So the artists look after that part.
So tell us a bit more about your marketing, Nancy, because I feel like you're just so on top of your marketing and the power of your marketing, and I feel like that's really driven your business. Tell us about the block and how you got involved with that, and grand designs, etc., and how that really has kind of, basically boosted your business profile and your economies of scale, etc., and just the way you also touch on that, but then also the way you really elevate the social media experience as well for art lovers, because that's quite critical to the way you do your business as well, isn't it?
Yeah. So, I mean, marketing's all, intertwined, but no, obviously everyone always wants to know about the block because that's a very significant thing. Even if you don't like the block, you know what the block is. And for us as a new gallery, we knew it would be difficult to cut through because there's galleries that have been established and people have been going to them for years. So we needed to do something different and not follow their path. So instead of competing there, we just went for, well, okay, how to get visibility through things like the block. And being a super fan, it did take me 2 years to keep going and, finding the right person and having the right conversations. But in the end, when we did have those conversations, we pitched that when you're selling a house for over $1 million, you need original art in the style, and you do not have prints from IKEA or, sorry to mention other businesses, but you soon know in the industry that a house of that level needs to have original art, and that made a difference. They realized that too, and so we got our first year in, and then we were able to leverage better in the after years by having a gallery, and then they could visit and we get the airtime. Yeah, so the blog, all those other things kind of are in that same zone because we're known to be good suppliers, that we can work fast and we can make it happen. Other, like Foxtel we work with, Selling Houses Australia, and now Love It and List It, and those things kind of grow, and the same people in those industries that have worked with us then get us into different movies and things like that. So we're providing artwork for that kind of film shoot and things. So like people in the industry know that we do a good job and can rely on us, and they kind of come back to us, and it keeps expanding. The social media, I spoke to it a little bit, but yes, I feel that you can just put up an image from a still image from online, but it's the human face that we feel people need to engage with, and also see the scale and all those aspects. So the social media, we like that to be more personable, and you'll see our artists hanging in the next bit, our team hanging the work, and it's quite raw footage. It's not like perfect makeup or anything like that. You'll see them there like hair up and sweating and in their sneakers and stuff. And I think people appreciate that we're quite open and honest about what's happening behind the scenes. And of course, like Jared and I have both, because when you're spending a lot of money, and we do, on things like Google Ads and Meta, you start thinking like, what is this money doing? So like both of us have actually been through a mentor course for a year for online businesses. And so we learned a lot about running those things. So we do have a marketing team, but because we've been through a year of experience ourselves with it, we also know what we're doing a lot more. So we'll ask them questions and kind of engage at a level that most businesses probably don't, because they haven't been the marketer themselves. Like every job we've had to do ourselves before we got to a level to hand it on to someone else. I'm hoping that helps. Like I think there's a lot of people in different aspects. So we always try to send our marketing out to different things. We've worked with Art Series hotels and had our book placed in their rooms. We've had different collaborators. Neil Whitaker was our ambassador for 1 year, and other contestants from the block have been great ambassadors of ours over the years as well. And we still work with them. So they'll come back and have a big job for a hotel, and so we can work with them to provide work for that whole big job. So I think all those things do intertwine. Like the block has had, more things spin off it than just the footage.
There's just been a bit of a clarification on that question before that we were a little bit unsure about. The cost you take on shipping and the cost you spend to acquire a new customer.
Okay, so the shipping we don't do ourselves. The artist's included in their price. So we found that the artists have great relationships with different people, and so they just like to use their preferred shipper, and like their courier. So that's what they mostly use. And like, to be honest, sometimes they have better deal than we could possibly do. And if it's in the same suburb, they can deliver personally. So we didn't want to put a set price on shipping as this and embed it that way. We just have allowed the artists to run that, and most people are really happy with that.
I think that answers that question. Will there be any benefit for an artist profile to invest? Will this increase exposure, profile?
Oh, absolutely. Like the people who are going to benefit like sooner are the artists, because more marketing, more eyes on your work, more chance of a sale. So like if we double our marketing spend, you would say that, you're going to maybe not double, because there's other things that'll, make sales happen. But, you'd expect to see 40 to 50% increase in your sales pretty soon.
Question here about your team.
Yeah.
How do you and your business partner split your roles? Can you talk a bit about the whole team? Who's involved? How big it is?
I'm not sure if this is like one of our artists asking, because they probably know everyone pretty well. But Jared and I split our roles. I do a lot more of the face-to-face, the mentoring the artists, special projects like the block. I'll do a lot of that kind of work. And we do overlap in some ways. When we're marketing, we kind of both make decisions and come together with those meetings. Jared does a lot more of the admin, the marketing via email and things like that. So he's doing a lot more of the online component. And then in our team, if anyone knows Kim's like a key onboarder for everyone new. So they all go through Kim. She's like super helpful, probably over helpful if anything. So they're like, how is she picking up at this time of night? And she over supports. So lots of lovely comments about Kim because she's been there. If they got stuck with the technology, she's always helped them out. Then we've got Zan, who's like great on our help desk and gallery assistant. And we have Gabby, who's just about to finish her master's in art curation. So she's our curator at the gallery. And we've got other components too. We've got, just trying to think. We've got Bianca doing commissions. So she's a gallery assistant, but her focus is commissions. So if you're wanting something bespoke made, she'll do all the conversing and setting up your agreements and payments and all of that. Charlotte is our social media person. So she's also studying at the moment a marketing degree. So she's actually like cutting edge of everything. And like, she's like, oh, I've just learned these new skills, and she'll like implement it in reality as well. So she's passionate, has already worked in this role previously, but now she's, doing her marketing degree, and it's kind of translating to good socials for us as well. God, I hope I haven't forgotten someone. We just actually employed someone this last week. And so Cynthia is coming on board, and she's getting trained up this week, and she'll be another gallery assistant with, potentially more and more roles. Our gallery assistants are also outreaching to artists. So if we discover someone that we think is amazing, there's like the reach outs and talking them through what happens on Art Lovers. And yeah, so we don't just passively wait for people to come to us. We also, if there's someone there we think is great, we do go chase them down as well.
Another question's just come through, Nancy.
Yeah.
How does Art Lovers Australia measure the high quality art to connect Australian artists with collectors? So you did say you actually vet your artists, just let everybody come on board.
Like one of them is a body of work. So we want to see a consistency of their practice. So we're not going to say photorealism is more quality than like a graffiti artist. We just want to know that they are consistent with their art practice. So art is like a diary entry. So it doesn't matter if your style of writing is that, it doesn't really matter. It's about, is it from the heart and is authentic? So, and are you consistent? So if you're somebody who's just done a workshop and you're excited about art, and you've just done a few in that style, and then you've thought this was exciting, did a few more in that style, that's not really for art lovers yet. You need to dive in and go deeper. And some artists work on their still life, they might have a collection of vintage objects, and you see that continued, like the flowers and the vintage vases and the tablecloths, they all work through their work for years and years. Or maybe they're a landscape artist, and you see that way of mark making and that kind of landscape again and again, and so you see that develop. So I think it's best for an artist's career as well to be recognizable, and that's where they need to be for us to accept them. I also say, some of the qualities you can see in the photos that somebody may not have it down yet, that somebody might think their notepad with a torn out sheet is enough to apply, and then it's not, so you can still see the sprockets here. Like that's not, they haven't got the understanding yet of what is going to be bought. And I think sometimes you'll even see at the back, they haven't really got the quality of hanging system, and we don't want that to go out either. So a few things we'll notice. Sometimes we ask a question and give them a chance to respond, and they can always reapply, but we do need to keep the standard going higher. Yeah.
The question continues, will the artist scope include emerging artists with different mediums to traditional mediums? For example, can anyone list their work in photography?
Yeah, we already have a really big photography cohort of artists. In fact, I think our photographers like our platform because we have variable products. So you can set up your edition very easily. You can just put up the one product, but you can, sorry if it's getting technical, but you can basically, list the sizes available and the prices for each one and framing in 3 different colors. And, it's actually very good for a photographer. They can put their body of work up really seamlessly. But we also do have some digital artists. Having said that, we don't really sell a lot of digital art. So they have to be pretty good for our team to accept them moving forward, because we just haven't had the cut through. Like, people want from us, they want originals, they want to see the paint strokes, the texture. That's what our buyers want.
Great questions. I think we might wrap it up there, Nancy. That was really terrific.
Well, thank you, everyone. Thanks, Mel.
Yes, no, thank you everyone for coming. This is a really exciting raise and a really amazing business. And we hope that you all come on board and invest in Art Lovers Australia and be part of that journey for the next steps that Nancy and Jared and the team take. So yeah, it's exciting.
Yes, it is. Thank you, everybody, and keep an eye out for our updates.
Yes, definitely. Put in your expression of interest if you haven't already, and then you'll be on the list and you'll get all the updates and you'll know exactly what's going on. You'll get first dibs of the offer document, and then you'll also be privy to the 48-hour private phase after the offer launches. So you get the benefits of late payment terms, etc. So it's really worthwhile putting an expression of interest in. So encourage all your friends to do it. And
yes,
we look forward to a successful raise with Nancy and Art Lovers Australia. Thanks again.
Thank you, everyone. Bye.
Bye.